My first month living in America as a college freshman, I went to a trivia night on campus. My roommate won a TV and I won a speaker. And some guy I'd never met was up front, hosting, making jokes, while more than 100 of us are just loudly participating in this really cool event. And then a friend leaned over. Did you know he's a YouTuber? You know, the one who filmed videos about Harvard students not sleeping? And then I realized I literally watched him in high school. And that was Colby Martel. I just remembered thinking, is this how America works? The shouting, the TVs thrown at you, the energy, a room packed with people laughing. And I later found out other campuses didn't really have this. It was just us, a school known for entrepreneurship. Well, maybe it was just him. I remember I was dazzled by these events, disoriented, and I saw Colby as this kind of mythical figure because he led and planned all of them. Someone who could get hundreds of people in a room and millions of views online. And I assumed that someone who could do all that would have a lot of pride about it, because I would have. But sitting down with him now, after graduation, that's not what I found at all. And it kind of changed what I think achievement even means. Here's the conversation with Colby. I guess we can just start off from like what we were talking about with, what do you feel like your exploratory process was like in college? With like regarding what you want to do, especially with like media and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think I attended a school that really encouraged not necessarily media, but definitely entrepreneurship. We had classes just 4 days a week, and then you could do group projects whenever you want. It was very group. Oh shoot, can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. It was very group project oriented, I think, the curriculum for the most part. A lot of my even solo tests, we would be encouraged to collaborate with other people to study. So I think that's a big key for entrepreneurship, is finding people that are motivated like you, have similar goals, and teaming up to build something greater than yourselves, right? So I think that's what Babson really excelled at, and then also giving you that flexibility to do work on your own time. Like, yes, you show up to classes, but I think it was only 6 hours a week or 12 hours a week, something like that. Yeah, probably 12 hours a week. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that leaves a lot of free time to do your own thing. So I think I first year was tough because of COVID. I kind of was confined to my own room, and you weren't really supposed to leave. So I spent a lot of time that year at home, not really sure what I was doing. So I would just be watching YouTube a lot and, spending a lot more time on my classes, trying to make those projects the best they can be and develop my skills. But then from that process, I took a big leap in my sophomore year when the restrictions lifted and we could go outside more and interact with people. I decided to get involved with student government at a higher level, and I think from that role, which is rare if you don't go to college, you don't just get these like leadership roles with these guaranteed, you're not going to be the vice president of anything if you're 18 years old, mm-hmm. most likely. So I was the vice president of communications. I got to run the Instagram account and reach a guaranteed 3,000 people and host weekly events and just show off what the student government was doing, which is the biggest organization on campus. So I was the only sophomore on the team, which was really scary at first, but then super exciting to get the mentorship from the older people who I really respected. And it's just that the organization that college allows for and the structure really puts you in positions to develop skills and have stronger opportunities that you can't necessarily figure out as easily on your own at that age without college. So anyway, between that and watching YouTube my previous year, I wanted to do a personal project as well. I knew I could reach a few thousand people with my content just at Babson, but it was a small school and I thought that my skills and dreams were bigger than the confines of that college campus. So I went to the most well-known college in America or in the world, Harvard University, and I just made a video there and just asking students about their experience, like how much they sleep, how much they study, stuff like that, and just posted it on a whim. I made a prediction that it could get up to 20,000 views, and I'd never posted any videos of myself before on YouTube, just watched a lot and posted like some other like basketball highlights and stuff like that, but never like an interview like this that could reach a wide audience. And it ended up reaching over 5 million views now, and
wow.
That kind of gave me the confidence, or it showed me the potential of the impact that you can make by posting things online and being consistent with it and taking risks like that. So from there, I just continued to do that at different schools, and now I'm doing it with people, interviews with people of all ages now that I've graduated. So in college, it was basically just a hobby that I was in the back of my mind trying to make my career. But I always had that mindset that, oh, this is just a side hustle, or this is just a fun project I'm doing on the side. I really didn't have a lot of pressure because my title was always, I'm a college student, you know? So I think looking back, if I had more pressure, potentially I would have done better, but also I understood that college was a rare and special experience. I wanted to be super involved with the campus, and I think I developed my skills as a student leader more than I could have just like putting my head down and doing my own thing. I think my YouTube channel might be in a better place right now if I was more focused on it, but I definitely don't want to say I regret spending time on schoolwork or spending time on this campus activities either, because I learned a lot and cherished those experiences too. And I can do YouTube for the rest of my life. I can't really have that same early 20s experience in college again. So that's kind of where I'm standing now. I did just enough that I could justify not getting a real job after college and continuing to pursue this.
So there's a couple of things I want to follow up on. So the first thing is, like, you talked about how in college you didn't have the pressure, and so now it's like things change. Do you feel like that changes like your mindset or how you approach YouTube and content creation?
You think that the added pressure changes how I approach what I'm doing? Like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm asking whether it does or it doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. I think at one point when I was starting out, I was very consistent and I was posting every single week. But then eventually I got kind of comfortable and I realized, I could just do these videos with my friends and I don't have to post as much because I'm a student, and I got to focus on my studies and I got to focus on my campus involvements. So I definitely kind of peaked in my junior year, and then senior year, I definitely had a lot less viewership and consistency with uploads. But again, that was just because I didn't prioritize it, and I felt very content with the progress I made my junior year, that I didn't feel like, I need to lock in or else I'll have to get a corporate job next year. I felt like I was in a pretty good position that I could take off the gas and really take in those unique experiences that I could only have through my senior year. But then as you graduate, I never compromised my values or anything. I definitely think about, if I post this, it would get a lot of views, but you also have to look at it in terms of the long term. Is like, okay, you can get 10 million views on this, but it ruins your reputation, or it doesn't communicate the message that you really value, and then it doesn't feel good. So overall, I just want to, even if my videos get 10,000 views and I make negative dollars, I really just want to put out the best and most positive videos I can, because I'm interacting with strangers and I want to represent them in the best way. And my mission is to spotlight the stories of people that don't have the spotlight right now, but not necessarily want it, but they have unique stories, and I want to share it and hopefully inspire others, or just make their day, just to make them smile for a couple minutes with that interaction. So I do enough where I can balance the two and not fully rely on a viral video every single day. I'm lucky to work with brands here and there, and I'm definitely not in the place where I want to be financially, or like I have my ambitions are way bigger than like my view counts or whatnot, but I think it's just part of the process and I'm still figuring it out. But it's just been a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful for what I've built so far.
It's honestly awesome that you're like spreading positive message and using that as a platform for others, because I feel like that's quite rare. So I just want to say it's like I really respect that, and it's really cool to see, especially the values. Like I think that's also quite rare. I'm curious because like so you started off with like interviewing students from Harvard, and I'm curious like how intentional were you about like personal brand as you were growing and across platforms, or like when did you know, okay, this is like the sort of format and like message that I want to bring?
Yeah, I really didn't give enough thought into that, I think, when I was a student, just because, again, to me, my personal brand wasn't even I'm a YouTuber. It was that I'm a college student first, and I'm just exploring different colleges while I'm in college. So I kind of wish I had that, because it would have given me a better foundation right now. But again, it's literally just a trade-off. I did so many other incredible things that most college kids don't do while I'm in college. So you can't do everything, So but I think what I was doing is I just recognized that college interviews were a thing that already existed online, and people were, some of them were a little bit more inappropriate, or I feel like they could have been more positive or ask a little different questions. So I just wanted to be straight up and learn about these people's experiences, because I've always heard about college kids at Ivy League schools, and what is it really like? Is it really their dream to be there? Does it live up to expectations? Do they just really study all day? Like, what are the stereotypes true? So I just had those general curiosities that I wanted to figure out on my own, and might as well share it with others, what I find out. So once the Harvard video did super well, I was like, okay, let's do it at MIT. That got 1 million views. Let's do it at Yale, Stanford. Those got collectively 1 million views too. So I just kept doing that, and then eventually I kind of just graduated and realized that I didn't necessarily care as much about continuing to interview college students, because there's so many other types of people out there that I have yet to learn about, and I've already learned so much about college students. So while other creators will niche down and really make their personal brand, like I'm the Ivy League person, I'm the college person, I'm the education person, I really didn't do that. And I took a really broad approach that has made my personal brand a bit weaker, but has made my life more diverse and fulfilling. If that makes sense. So I'm still trying to figure out how to brand myself as a person that just loves meeting people, because I don't think you get that vibe necessarily. Like, that's not the first thing you think when you see my videos, because they're all over the place in the sense of like what I'm doing with people. But if you really think about what the core value is, if you see all of these people, the one commonality is that it's just a fun and reflective experience with a stranger. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. At least I'm organizing that a little bit better on LinkedIn, which is like it's like a different type of audience, different type of content. But I think there is where I have the clearest personal brand. I'm just sharing stories with strangers. Everywhere else is kind of just like, I don't even know, just content right now.
You mentioned, okay, so I'm like really curious about what's it called? Campus Activity Board? Like
Campus Activity Board.
Like incredible amount of activities and like the scale that you organized, and like the memories you've created, and I want to like ask you about like your side of the experience of like the good parts and also like the stressed out parts, because I remember you were like, oh, you pull like all-nighters, and I was like, what, like how do you do that and school and like YouTube, you know? So I guess just reactions, like how would you talk about like your experience?
I would say the first thing out of the way is that I wasn't studying medicine or anything like that. I genuinely believe, nothing against business schools or business students, but at Babson, at least for me, the curriculum wasn't intensely rigorous. If you show up to I showed up to every single class. I only missed I didn't miss a single day of school for the first 2.5 years.
Wow.
So I went to every single class, was just like attentive, and if you pay attention to class, you don't have to study as hard outside of it or stress yourself out, because you know everything that was covered. Just kind of reflect on what you learned every day and you'll be all set. But overall, I really didn't think it was that hard, and I think they do that kind of on purpose because they want to position you to work together and figure things out together, and then also be more entrepreneurial, have more flexibility on your own time. So there's that one thing. I wasn't becoming a doctor. I didn't have to I wasn't life or death. My studies weren't life or death. So that wasn't a big issue there. I just personally was motivated to do the best I could, and I got a nearly a 4.0 in my studies just because I think it was on the easier side. And then I just showed up during the class. That's literally 12 hours a week. That is the bare minimum if your identity is a college student, you know what I mean? So I did that. And then I think a bigger portion than even YouTube was campus activities, because I knew that this was a unique and rare experience that I could only do for those couple of years in that capacity. And with having that guaranteed audience that kind of ranges from like 20 people to maybe 1,000 people at a time, unlike YouTube where I could reach like 0 people with a video, or I could reach millions. It kind of you never really knew. For this, I kind of knew that people were going to show up, and it was my responsibility to give them the best experience possible, especially as someone that was elected. It's like a public position, and there's only one president of CAB out of the entire student body. And this is the biggest organization of programming, and you have the biggest budget of $300,000 a year about.
Wow.
So I had the resources, I had the team to keep me accountable and motivate me, and I just wanted to use that platform that was guaranteed, had like a guaranteed base of attendance and resources to do the best I could with it. So that was just very I was just very motivated to not waste that opportunity, because it's very rare and very special.
What do you feel like were things like the very most valuable things you learned from the opportunity that couldn't have, that's hard, okay, I don't know how to phrase it, but it's just so unique?
Yeah. It's just a really great platform and organization to have very low, relatively low stakes. This is you're not gonna go bankrupt. You literally have the funding, and your goal is to spend it, and your goal is to get students involved, specifically in, or an alternative for parties, or even just a supplement to that, just a way for people to meet other friends or bond over shared experiences. So it literally gives you the baseline of what you're supposed to do, and how, not exactly how you do it, but what you're supposed to do, and then all the resources for it. So it just sets you in the position to either do the bare minimum or do the most you can, or somewhere in the middle. Most people do somewhere in the middle, and I just saw it as such a cool opportunity, so I just did everything. But again, once you have weekly meetings with your team, you see everything that they're passionate about, that they want to work on. You can divide and conquer, and then just spend all of the rest of your free time trying to enhance it and think of new ideas to bring to the table, but not being so close-minded that this is your way or the highway. I always, like, even, it probably wasted a lot of time, but I just wanted to make the coolest presentations possible, even though only my team would see it. I think that showing things and presenting it in a creative way gave it a lot more chance for people to get excited about working towards that goal. So typically, if I brought forward an idea, people would get excited about it, and then just, even though we barely get paid anything, it was just such a cool thing to be able to take an idea and make it a reality on a college campus for your classmates. So I don't really know exactly lessons or something. It's kind of just, I'm grateful for the structure of it all. And you definitely learn how to work towards a goal with a group and take in feedback and just adapt when necessary, because there's a lot of things that would come up and be like, oh shoot, we don't have this, let's get a car, let's go to Target. And it's more general lessons like that, just adaptability, teamwork, nothing like crazy, I could say.
Enlightenment.
Yeah.
So what were your like favorite events out of all the ones like you've helped like led and organized?
Yeah, it's funny. I unfortunately haven't been as reflective on my time there since it has been almost 2 years now. So I don't really think about that too much anymore. But just because I'm on to the next thing. But I think we were able to do a lot of events that necessarily didn't. We kind of used the money on kind of giving back to students, whether with big prizes, or one of my biggest things was just, rather than hiring contractors to host events, I would try to figure out the cost-effective way to make the best experience. And sometimes hosting events ourselves would actually be way more engaging than paying these professionals to do it. We one time paid someone $4,000 to host a trivia event. And then I think a lot of people, I think from that experience, we kind of saw what worked, what didn't work, and then we could save that money and instead make bigger prizes for people and just spend a little bit more time on ourselves developing the games. And but then we also have that flexibility to adapt that feedback, whereas with a contractor, it's harder to tell them what to do. They kind of just do their thing. So I think making the games a little bit more customizable, even though we spent more time on them, we were able to give bigger prizes to people and excite them to show up more. And the prizes on itself, even if you didn't win, the opportunity to win kind of makes you feel a certain way, and not just show up for that prize, but like leave being happy that you tried or excited about the experience anyway. So I would say my favorite event, if I had to pick one off the top of my head, the most memorable is when I combined revealing who would be performing at our spring concert with a bingo event, because bingo is naturally our most successful event, just because it's such a low cost event. Other than the prizes, you could really invest in the prizes and get people excited about the chance to win those. Everyone knows how to play bingo, and it's kind of just a fun, stress-free hour. Well, to some it's stressful, but it's like you don't really have to work hard. You just have to press a button or whatever, dab the paper. And so we combined that and made it really a big show. I took inspiration by Squid Game with our marketing and showed like eliminations of different artist examples, and people would show up not just for the prize. Like at some point they forgot that those were even on the table, I think. And then they were just like, wow, this is a really cool visual experience. I really want to figure out who the spring concert is. We had the whole competition to see if people could predict who it was. And it was just a really cool show that we produced. So I think that was probably my highlight.
I wish I was there. I think I missed that one.
Yeah, we got some videos of it, but it was cool.
Yeah, I was at I think I had like 2 bingo events that I went to. But I remember the first event ever, like my roommate and I both won like something.
Yeah. I remember.
It's really cool. Let me just go back to the question list. Wow, I'm just still like feeling like it makes me so much, brings me so much joy to hear you talk about it.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for giving me the platform. I haven't thought about these things in a while, so.
So how does it, okay, this is like a really standard sort of question, but I'm curious. So you mentioned like making things creative and like putting more effort into like presentations, for example, was like really motivating for the team. I'm curious, like, what other things have you found that like helped with that collaboration? Because I remember you mentioned like in class a lot was like collaboration and like your approach to it. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I really cared deeply about my team because I knew that these people had similar goals to host campus events. I realistically knew that no one would be as crazy or dedicated as I would be, because I think I was very extreme in my ambitions and passion for it. So I had to be realistic with my expectations of other people. But again, if you make them super excited about what you're working on, then they want to show up. They want to do the best they can, and they'll look back on it fondly too. So it's like, if you're going to do something, just like, you don't have to have like toil with it. Like, you don't have to exhaust yourself. That shouldn't be the goal, is work as hard as possible and make it as good as possible, but it's just make it as fun as possible to make the event as fun as possible, you know, because there's so many times where I've seen in the past where we would overschedule ourselves maybe once or twice, and then wouldn't put as much effort into the event, and then I wouldn't even be there because maybe I would be at a different conference or event, and then you kind of look back, not that many people show up because the marketing wasn't we didn't care enough to promote it because we weren't passionate about it. But if you really love the event, you really care about the event, you're going to do everything you can to make sure people show up to this. And it's just going to be a great time as a team member, and then people are going to feel that energy and want to show up too. So I knew that started with the team, and then that would lead off into the attendees too. If you have people that you're even doing check-in and they're kind of just like on their phone, or they're not really engaging with you, they don't want to be there, then the attendees might feel the same way. Oh, I don't really want to be here either. If you are hosting this and you don't even want to be here, that was the one thing I wanted to avoid, because before I ran for president, I kind of saw that here and there. Just people kind of being forced to show up and have strict expectations, and I was pretty lenient with my expectations with people. My only goal is to make this as fun as possible, so everyone wants to be there and not has to be there because it's on their contract or this is their role, you know? So I did like a lot of things that beyond just the presentations, but just being a friend to these people, genuine, like learning about their goals and what they want to do beyond CAD, like showing up to their other events because they'd be in other clubs. And I would, at the end of the year, this didn't really matter in the sense of team building. It was kind of just as a thank you of it. Like a lot of these people would be in my videos too, and I would make some money from those. So whatever I made, I just kind of gave back to them in the sense that, like, I figured out they're like so for bingo, you can't win if you're on the team. But I knew this one kid, he really wanted to win these AirPod Maxes, and so I got him that as a gift at the end of the year. And then there's another girl who wanted to go to the Celtics game, but she couldn't make it that day, but she helped organize the whole event for students to go. So then I got her Celtics tickets, and there's things that no one else would do, and very few people are fortunate to have the means to do that. As a college student too, I understand that. But yeah, I didn't have a ton of money or resources because I would just invest it all into my content. But what I did have, I knew that was a priority to give back and say thank you for helping me make it so easy to run this organization.
Oh, wow. That's so heartwarming.
Yeah, team is everything. Can't do it alone.
Then how does it feel like, or to now doing like media and entrepreneurship? Like, are you a one-person team, or like how do you, like, because it sounds like you really value like teamwork and like connections.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like how is this experience for you now in that aspect?
Yeah, it was a lot easier in college because I didn't, like, yes, I gave them those gifts at the end of the year and I showed up to their events. Like, that was my investment towards them, but I didn't have to pay them a weekly salary or anything. And when you're doing entrepreneurship, and I guess I don't have the systems or the results yet to pay 7 people every week and pay myself and whatever. So right now I don't even pay myself anything. I just I know I'm fortunate to live with my parents still, so I try to help them out when I can, but I really just want to invest in the content, whether I need to travel because it gets cold in the winter and I can't interview people here, or I'm going to like a conference to connect with other creators, or I'm just like giving away small prizes to make the videos a little bit more exciting. Stuff like that is where all my money goes to. And then the other factor is I'm hiring editors because and I hired an assistant to keep me accountable. So I hired a Babson student just to go out with me and interview people, because it was hard for me at first to make that transition. And I really didn't want to do it alone. I was not fully as shy as I used to be. I grew up with severe social anxiety, and I kind of just found YouTube as a platform that I could finally get out of that shell. And I chose interviews because I didn't have to be in the spotlight. I could just ask a couple questions and other people could be the main character. But then as I evolved and wanted to be the main character of my own life, I still needed a little bit of a support system to keep me accountable for that. Because if you're just on your own, you don't have to pay rent. You can be a little bit, complacent sometimes. Not that I really was, but there's definitely days where you're like, I'll just be better tomorrow, rather than just being the best you can be today when you're not feeling motivated. So at this point, even I love more than anything, just my ideal week would just be 5 or 7 days a week, just interviewing strangers for 6-8 hours, and then organizing the footage and sending it to an editor who edits it on their own time. And then I can just go meet more people and learn about what I could ask better, and then evaluate the content to see what is resonating with the audience, and just keep putting in the reps every single day, whether I feel motivated or not. Having that discipline just to show up no matter what, and being open to whoever stops by and whatever you're going to learn, is way more than I can ever do just being alone editing on my own or just watching other videos. So I hire at least one full-time editor right now who helps me still post while filming as much as possible. And I don't hire an assistant anymore because I've developed that discipline to do it on my own rather than needing someone to go with me every day. So I definitely needed that push to start. So yeah, team was very important for me, and it still is, even with a smaller team now.
Oh, wow. So,
but even I have a close friend who's also a creator, and some other friends that I talk to every day about, like, we watch each other's videos and support us. So we don't pay each other, but we're just friends. So that helps a lot too.
So, like, what did you find out that, like, were patterns of when you're interviewing strangers, of, like, what helped the conversation and, like, what the audience resonated with?
Yeah, I think audiences tend to resonate with different things over time. I've done one series that for example, the asking Harvard students if they ever sleep. That was my first long form video, and that clearly resonated. And you can tell by the comment section saying like, oh, this made me think about this. Oh, this was a great video. I love these insights, XYZ. And then you can also see how many people it reaches. And that's an indication that they're watching for a long time and YouTube's pushing it out to more people. So I think views and comments are the main metrics for that. And then seeing that they're interested in Harvard students. I didn't want to just go to Harvard every day and just ask more questions to students like that. I was like, okay, how is this different at MIT? Because people are not just interested in Harvard, they also want to know about all these other prestigious schools. So that was my first step. And then I just randomly discovered a YouTuber that was like guessing people's jobs and guessing people's majors. And he also asked people, what are you listening to? And I found that a lot of people resonated towards that because they like music and they like the guessing games because they can play along and make judgments about people. So in like a positive way. So I was like, okay, let's combine these two and start guessing people's favorite music artists because Spotify rap just came out and I'm curious if anyone could guess what my top artist is. And so I just did that a couple times and those videos went millions of views right away. Just because I've seen the proof that these types of videos could do well. No one was exactly doing that, but then I kept doing that. Now I've done it 600 times that they don't perform as well. So I have to figure out a different thing to pivot to. And I'm exploring what you can learn about people from their screen times because that's also in a similar way relatable. Everyone has a screen time and a lot of people know that theirs is too high. So they want to see how other people are using it and maybe reducing it. And it's inspiring, but also kind of funny to expose somebody's screen time, you know? So that's kind of what I'm doing as one project, but really just want to connect with people on longer form videos, even if they aren't resonating right now. I just want to be consistent because that's where my heart is at. I think you can do a lot with 15 minutes that you can't do with 1 minute. So making that connection with a smaller group right now, I think can grow into something much deeper, maybe not as wide, but deeper is where I'm going for right now. Yeah.
I guess also what do you feel like is your attitude towards like AI slop? Because I feel like that's like so disruptive and I feel like it's like, oh, everyone talks and asks about it, but like it is so just, it's everywhere. And
yeah, there's a couple days where I was a little nervous. At first when it started, I had no anxiety because I knew that unlike a lot of other majors at my school, like accounting and finance, I thought that those could be easily replaced by AI. I didn't think human creators could because I think people want that connection with a person. And then I saw some really compelling interviews or stuff that I actually laughed at, and then I realized, oh shoot, that's not actually real people. But after a couple of days, I realized I'm kind of bored of this already. I want to connect with something real and authentic. So I kind of got over that. And I think from analyzing a lot of comments, whenever I use AI in my videos, sometimes I'll use an image because that can better represent, like for example, if someone was saying their favorite Thanksgiving meal was this, and this, there's probably not a Google image with all three items on a table. So I just generated that with AI and put that in rather than photoshopping it or anything, and it made it a lot faster for me. But then people called it out. They're like, oh, AMI, or they say AI PMO, which means like piss me off. And then they use this like rose. So people don't like it. They'll call you out. And I think, like you said, if people are calling it sloth, that means that they don't like it. So I think it might get so compelling that people don't know, but I assume that there'll be regulations that you have to disclose it. And I think when you're really engaging with people, especially at conferences like VidCon that make it possible to meet your favorite creators, you don't want to meet a robot, you know? Like, there's some lovable robots out there. Like, I was a big fan of Big Hero 6 and stuff. Like, I would go meet Baymax, but I don't know if you know what that is, but yeah.
I know.
But there's a lot of people aren't gonna want to engage with an AI person if they're aware that they're AI. The only conflict is if you don't know it's AI, but that's a whole different story. But if it's AI slop, it's clear that people just want to scroll by that at this point.
Okay. Just to wrap off, I'm curious about like what you think of like planning for the future. And
yeah, I definitely don't plan enough. I think my strongest trait is being adaptable. And I think every time that I've failed or I reach a wall, I've been able to build a door through it or jump over it somehow. In an ideal situation, I would be ahead of the game. I think everyone that is a billionaire or has really succeeded is because they revolutionized something. They were, like I just said, ahead of it. So I do try to think and experiment with things that I think no one has done before, and maybe there's a reason no one has done because no one likes it, but maybe it's just because no one else thought of it or took that initiative. So I'm trying. I can't give you a specific example, but I think like everything I put out is like an example of something that is an educated guess that could perform well. I'm not like I haven't thought of any concepts or revolutions that could change the world in a big way, like an iPhone or something did. But I'm just taking it really week by week and month by month, and I just know that my life is. I couldn't envision my life now 2 years ago, so I can't. I don't want to waste too much time trying to envision what it would be in 2 years. But I have goals, and I have things I want to try. So I think just combining that with faith and being in openness, that if you work and you have a clear mission and values, that things will go to plan. Or not go to plan, but still end up in a good space. I think is the mindset that keeps me peaceful, happy, and motivated.
I'm just blinking on the word because I just peaceful, and it's like a new thing that I learned. It's like good.
Yeah, it's good to feel at peace. I don't know. I think we're all chasing emotions at the end of the day in some way. Like people want to make money so that they don't feel stressed, and they want to take time off so that they can not feel stressed, and they can, you know what I mean? So if you just feel peaceful in your work already, then you already won. I always want to push harder and help others. Like I want to make more money to help my family so that they don't have to work as hard in their jobs. But also, if I'm just stressed out all the time, then it might be counterproductive. So I want to try to have a clear mind as I approach what I do, and just always show up and take feedback and adapt. And I think by doing that every day, you can't fail.
What stayed with me wasn't really the events with the hundreds of people or YouTube with millions of views. That's what dazzled my freshman 18-year-old self. And that's what I kind of thought I came here to learn. But there's this tugging feeling between the noise of striving to build something that will go big, of wanting to go viral, and the quietness of just being at peace. And it seems like Colby lived through the noise, and he got all of it, what a lot of people dreamed of. And what I found is that, or he just chose the peace. And it turns out I needed his sense of peace and faith more than any of that.